Looking back in time, it is easy to see why the Olympic-class ships were supposed to symbolize everything that was good about the Gilded Age, in an era when, from the technological point of view, anything seemed possible. By the turn of the 20th century, shipbuilding technology meant that vessels had grown out of all proportion in a very short time. The first White Star liner, the Oceanic of 1871, had a gross tonnage of 3,707 tons, and although steam-powered, she still required the use of sails to augment her speed and serve as backup in case of any mechanical failure. 40 years later, the SS Olympic would have no sails, 3 engines, and a gross tonnage of over 45,000 tons, a 12-fold increase in carrying capacity. By the end of the 19th century, the White Star Line, in partnership with the Belfast shipbuilder Harland and Wolff, had secured their reputations in a period when British industrial power, for decades the envy of the world, was beginning to come under serious foreign competition. One by one, the other industrialized nations had caught up with British technology, although British shipbuilding and marine engineering continued to lead the world. Nonetheless, the gap was narrowing. Between 1892 and 1894, British shipyards had accounted for some 80% of the gross tonnage of merchant vessels launched, yet by the early 20th century, this figure had fallen to less than 60% of the world's share. To further rub salt into the wound, by the end of the century, German vessels were also beginning to take the top honours with the speed records on the North Atlantic, with British preeminence in their traditional maritime stronghold suddenly coming under serious threat. It was from this background that the Olympic-class liners would evolve, although the catalyst that ultimately led to their conception came not from Europe but from the other side of the Atlantic. In 1901, the American railway baron, banker and financier John Pierpont Morgan arrived in the world of shipping. Already a formidable financial and industrial force on land, he had now set his eye on establishing American superiority on the oceans. His goal was simple: to buy out a select group of shipping companies, creating a common pool from which he would not only be able to eliminate an ongoing rate war, but at the same time would make the tonnage interchangeable. By 1902, Morgan's International Mercantile Marine Company, IMM, had gained control of the American, Atlantic Transport, Dominion, Inman, Leyland, Shaw, Saville and Albion, and Red Star lines. Now it was the turn of the White Star Line. His first approach came in February 1902, using his vast wealth to offer the White Star shareholders 10 times the value of their individual investments. Had Thomas Ismay, the founder of the company, still been alive, then it might have been a different story, but with 3/4 of the shareholders ready to accept the proposal, there was little the Ismay family could do to stop the sale.